Welcome back. This is the morning show here on Signature TV. It's May 28th, 2025, and everyone is talking about the midterm analysis of government that took office in 2023. Some are talking about theirs on the state level, some are at the federal level. So we just have to look at, both the federal and the state government with an opinion leader and an analyst, Chief Ebubeagu Felix. Good to have you. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and good morning, millions of viewers.
All right. So 2 years down the line of President Tinubu, how do you assess him?
Well, I will say without controversy that President Bola Tinubu came to be the president of Nigeria well prepared, and he desired to be the president of Nigeria a very long time ago. And he came with a clear vision of repositioning our economy and taking good political steps that will track Nigeria to the progress lane of economic recovery. And initially when he came in, people did not understand the trajectory he was moving in. But currently, I can assure you with this mid-term assessment, it can be generally viewed or agreed that Mr. President has done well, and our economy has been on a steady progression lane recently. And key performance indices and key performance index of the NBI shows that inflation is getting down slightly, and it will continue to be that. We will see that a lot of infrastructures are springing up, and investors are trooping into Nigeria, and manufacturers that will create millions of jobs. If you listen to, I don't know if you watched the interview that was done on the governor of Nasarawa State about solid minerals. Two multinational companies are coming into Nasarawa State to create, to establish a processing industry for solid mineral, lithium precisely, in Nasarawa State. And that will go a whole long way in generating jobs, developing the communities wherein they were, so that Nigeria will not only be a raw material producing country, but will be major producers of the core equipment, batteries, and other things that is required. So I would say that the federal government has done meticulously well. And I want to also say that we have to look at Nigeria before coming in of President Buhari.
But Buhari wasn't in power.
We look at the situation of the country when Buhari was in power.
Buhari did 8 years.
Yes, look at the situation of the country that time. Dollar was at official rate at 700. And the implication is that if you know the governor of any bank or managing director of any bank, they can give you official rate, and from there you make at 350, you make 100% profit from the official rate. But Tinubu came and merged it, and Naira began to find its level. And there was a time it was galloping up and down, but now it seems to have been stabilized and will continue to stabilize. The same thing is applicable to petroleum downstream subsector. You see that the Dangote refinery has come in on board. The prices of petroleum has jacked up, came down, and is now stable steadily. It has been dropping. The price of finished product (PMS) has been dropping steadily. The same thing is applicable to DPK and other byproduct of refinery. And you will also see that in security lane, before now, Nigeria was producing about 850 to 900 barrels of crude oil a day. But today, Nigeria has doubled to 1.9 million barrels of crude oil is being produced in Nigeria today. And hopefully, with the trajectory of progress, an attempt is being made to restart oil exploration in Ogoniland, having restored some of the degraded environment, having cleaned up some of the area that need to be cleaned up, having undergone environmental impact assessments, and also the reposition of crude oil in Ogoniland. You will agree with me that if full exploration commences once again in Ogoniland before 2026 June, Nigeria will be producing about 2.5 million barrels of oil. That will be a quantum leap. There is stability in the Niger Delta now. Though there is security challenges in the country, it's still raising its ugly head. But we should not wink at the progress made by the present administration. Before now, people were not comfortable to travel by road from Abuja to Kaduna. But since January till now, this year, no single kidnap or kidnapping attempt has been made on Kaduna-Abuja highway that was reported. That shows a clear progress from the past. In southern Kaduna, at a time during the previous administration under President Muhammad Buhari, something Kaduna turned to be like a slaughter slab. But you can see the unwavering peace as a result of this administration. I listened to Basani, the governor of Kaduna State, who said that he came in, and so one of the major causes of rift in southern Kaduna was injustice that was done to it by the former governor, and he has tried to restore it, to address it, and everybody is happy, even those who won election in Labour Party, because of the progress the governor has made. They are defecting from Labour Party from southern Kaduna into APC. That shows you that this administration has been doing all it could. The same thing is applicable to states. State governors are doing their best. In Imo State, before the second term election of Hope Uzodinma, Imo State was a no-go area. The security was at its lowest ebb. At a time, Hope was calling IPOB. At a time, Hope was calling political motivated killings. Nobody could understand that because of the rift with the government had with Econs, and so something like that. But immediately after the second term election of Hope was concluded, the insecurity in Imo State applied automatically.
No, I actually want to put things in perspective, because Hope issue, the state was quiet. It was when he took over, when Supreme Court gave him that mandate, that's when those chaos started. So it's not like...
That means that it was a politically motivated killings.
Well, it was under him, and he's a political leader in that state.
Yes.
So
court does not act on mundane things.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was when he was given. I didn't say whether it was right or wrong. I just said it was when he was given the mandate. That was when the issues started.
Yes, opponent.
If you say the opponent.
Yes, why I said the opponent was, I remember one day a woman leader of APC and the chairman of APC in a particular ward went for a meeting at Owerri, and they gave them palliative rice. They came back with it. They moved into their house, dragged out the woman leader and slaughtered her and threw a bag of rice on her. The same thing is applicable to chairman. So the killings in Imo was morally a more politically motivated killing. But now in Imo State there is clear stability. And today the Imolites are now calling Governor Hope Uzodinma the project governor as a result of his clear and glaring performances. If you go to Abia State, you will see that Abia State has progressed under Alex Oti, unlike what you have seen in the days of Okezie. Yes, Okezie was once called a drunkard by a legislator because of the way he behaves. But today, Abia, Imo State, I saw an industry, tailoring industry that was established in Aba, and somebody was saying that you see about 100 persons where their hands were at the machine doing some of the production of fabric materials. Somebody was saying this was not in China, but it's here clearly in Aba. And the seaport that is being established in Aba and a lot of developmental projects embarked upon by Alacrity has been a clear indication that Abia State has been doing well. And coming to Enugu State, I'm taking a general view of the performances of the governors. Coming to Enugu State, you know that I don't like PDP. You know that I don't support PDP. But the project of the governor of Enugu State speaks for itself. I can't believe myself that within 2 years, presidential hotel that was bastardized, that was plundered, that was damaged beyond repair, has been restored by Governor Peter Mbah. Admitted that I don't like Peter Mbah, but presidential hotel is not in. The uncompleted International Conference Center that was abandoned in 2003, about 22 years ago, has been not only completed, but another edifice of such type has been started from foundation and is being concluded. What is the result of it? The Nigerian Bar Association hosting about 4,000 lawyers that will be coming for delegate meeting in Enugu. That will be the first time the Nigerian Bar Association is hosting their meeting in Enugu. So if you look at the local governments and communities, you see that there are smart schools in various electoral wards, not in local governments. In 260 electoral wards, there are simultaneous ongoing smart schools. So the projection and the trajectory of development in Enugu speaks for itself. Then again, you look at agriculture. The governor of Enugu State currently, from what I saw in my town, is establishing industrial estates in electoral wards. Bring 200 hectares of land. Government will build houses there. You will move in there, live there, cultivate there. Not when you want to farm, you will trek about 5 kilometers before you get to farm, but you will live there, produce whatever you want, and it is mechanized farming. It's ongoing. Look at the health sector. And above all, today, Enugu State has moved from the paradigm. Before now, as a civil servant state, Enugu State is now a commercial hub. You see, it takes leadership with vision to bring out the best from the people. What is the internally generated revenue of Enugu State before now? What is it today? That's why the works are going on simultaneously. Go to Ababa this morning, you see things going on. Go to Penox, you see works going on. Go to Opio Soka, so the government of this time around under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, because he's the superintending governor general of Nigeria. So when at the time Tinubu was asking the populace, the electorate, to ask the governors of the improved federal allocation that is being churned out to them. Same thing is applicable to local.
No, but I mean, there's improved monies given to the state governors.
And there are improved infrastructures going on.
But doesn't mean that it cuts across. You can't say the same thing that's happening in Enugu is happening in Ebonyi, in Imo, and the likes. You could say
I have said that Hope is being called today the project governor.
Yeah, you've said that.
Yes, and I have also made mention of Alex Oti.
Yeah, but
and I also made mention. I have not mentioned solution.
But not to the scale of what you have mentioned, in Enugu. But let's track back a little bit.
Enugu is where I live, where I can give on the ground assessment of the happiness. I cannot begin to speak for Anambra. Though I visit Anambra at times, but I visit it just touch leg and take away because of the insecurity that was there. But you look at since Soludo began to understand his writing and begin to take proactive steps to address the issue of insecurity in Anambra State, things has marginally changed.
Right, that is an Anambra State. I'm talking about the federal government.
You said that generally.
Yes, we're speaking generally.
But I'm talking about the federal government. When I made mention of federal government, the infrastructure that are going on, the security situation, the economic, the improved revenue generation, states are paying. Some states recently began to repay their loans. Sukuk fund that was borrowed has been completed. All the 10.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say basically is, 2 years down the line, you have spoken about more monies given to the state government. We've spoken about the fact that there are clusters of development that you can pinpoint as things that you would give. But for crying out loud, what are these things for a common man? The common man really doesn't feel it.
And I have said that the inflation has been going down steadily.
The inflation has been going down steadily?
Yes.
In what aspects, please? Is it inflation?
I said also that the prices of petroleum product has been steadily going down for the past 6 months.
How much did they meet it?
It is not how much they met it.
No, because again, you just have to put this thing side by side. Yeah, now you came into power and there was nothing you did. Clearly, there was nothing you did that to show that you have studied what the petroleum industry is like. You just came on board. The first thing you did was to announce that the subsidy has been removed.
Because the president said that the subsidy will end in June.
Well, the subsidy will end in June, but it's left for you to also look at the papers.
I want Nigerians to understand this fact that one of the major windows of fraud against Nigeria. Yesterday, a court sentenced an oil marketer to 14 years imprisonment for 2.5 billion naira subsidy fraud. Yesterday. I hope you heard it. You must have seen it.
Yes.
Yes. Why? But this issue of fraud on subsidy has been brought to an end.
Has it?
Yes. It has. Nobody talks about subsidy anymore in Nigeria. Prices of petroleum product is being driven by the market forces.
Yeah, but why
So
is the
president,
market forces not driven by the incomes that we make?
Oil sector that was enmeshed in fraud, and he successfully brought to an end the fraudulent practices and pattern in the sense and name of subsidy. And that was why he has been able to come up with this subsidy removal. He was determined so that few people will not be milking Nigerians. That's what the president has done to the majority of Nigerians. Since he came in, the issue of fuel scarcity, hoarding, and all these things has come to an end. And
Ebubeagu, do you understand the level of poverty that exists in Nigeria?
The level of poverty that exists in Nigeria has been there.
Do you know? Wait, it got worse now. Because if I was purchasing fuel at 200 naira before, as president, you came in 2 years ago, and then you come and tell me that, oh, you have to remove fuel subsidy and remove full fuel subsidy, not, hazarding it in order for people to be able to absorb it. But you remove full fuel subsidy, and fuel went to 1,400 in this country that we produce fuel from. And then we have this back and forth with NNPC and Dangote. They went on, going at each other every single time.
Yes.
And now, the fuel at 920, is it even fair for somebody who earns 70,000 naira as minimum wage? And then you expect the person to buy fuel at 920, knowing that fuel is actually what really drives this economy. There's virtually nothing that you cannot do without fuel. Your transportation cost is there. Even with these vehicles that we're talking about, the CNG buses and the CNG vehicles have not adequately been harnessed. And that's exactly what should have been done before the subsidy is removed. So the president did not deem it fit to think through that, but went on to remove fuel subsidy, and then everybody is wallowing in pain and poverty. And the numbers, we're talking about over 133 million Nigerians, multidimensionally poor.
Okay, let me tell you, I wouldn't like you to take over the pessimistic view and opinion of the opposition.
I'm not taking the pessimistic view of opposition. I'm just saying that that's what's on the ground. I understand you also speak to people on the ground.
Yes.
Is it true that they are happy with the president and his policies?
Let me come in now. Let me come in, because why we must juxtapose the reality and the sentiment is to understand in clear terms what and where the president was going. He wasn't going for a pepper soup presidency. No. Whenever a surgery is conducted on any person, maybe you have a tumor. Now, Nigeria have a corruption tumor on the oil sector. The president decided to put in the blade so as to remove the tumor. It's not all that easy for anybody to have it. Nothing good comes easy. Tough time never lasts, but tough people do. Nigerians will overcome this challenge that you see today. The corrections that is being done today were the damages that were done years past. When PDP came into power, they began the auctioning of Nigerian wealth, and they auctioned it beyond recognition.
I'm still blaming PDP after,
no, I'm not blaming
10
PDP.
years
I'm not blaming PDP. I'm
saying
saying
power.
Nitel, you know Nitel, before MTN coming, you know Nitel. Nitel today, nothing has been heard about Nitel again. It just went like that. Charles, I don't know whether you lived in Enugu when Ananko was in full production. Anambra Motor Manufacturing Company. They sold it to a person. What is the person doing now? Selling the property, selling the land. The machineries that are there are no longer there. They are no longer manufacturing. The 3-point-something billion naira aluminium extrusion project at Akwa Ibom or thereabout was auctioned at $300 million, $30 million, and they laid off workers. Asaba rolling mill was auctioned out. So why I said it, that was that this government is trying to bring back industrial establishment in Nigeria. This hungry, okay, now the insecurity, let's talk about insecurity. Insecurity, the bandit has been there. But we had the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, how we turned down the detailed figures of the progress of the security in Nigeria. And recently, the president made announcement which no other president has ever made in Nigeria because of the current situation we found ourselves. If you look at the insecurity in Nigeria, you will see that it is more than multidimensional. Somebody came, I was watching the social media yesterday, from Ebubeagu here. Somebody came from overseas and relocated to Nigeria and said that his father's devil, that is Agu, his father's devil is upon him, that he will be a native doctor. Instead of being a native doctor, he resorted to selling human part, organ selling, killing people in his premises, selling their parts, dumping them. From Ebubeagu here. So when you hear that people are being kidnapped, sometimes people are saying Fulani people kidnap. You don't know that our people are kidnapping their people, slaughtering them, selling their body parts.
Right. I mean,
this president has said that Nigeria will not establish forest guards. This forest guard will be the best security network Nigeria will ever establish. Yes. The implication is that if your chance is a community, nobody will employ a security for you. You will employ your own security, Charles Pius security. It will guard Charles Pius community. It will guard Charles Pius farms. It will guard Charles Pius road. Because everybody living in Charles Pius community understand the residents and members of that community. The security people are being known. Their families are known. They know whenever a stranger comes in. So that is how the National Forest Guard will be established. I beat my chest in approval because I once said on Dream FM that what Nigeria needs is National Forest Guard. Every state, every community, you cannot employ from Ebubeagu and transfer to Uji. No, unlike what we have today, you will employ from Ringin and transfer to Akwa Ibom, or you employ from Kebbi State and transfer to Sokoto. No, community should guide their community. Let this National Forest Guard be established. 136,000. The issue of insecurity will soon be a thing of the past in Nigeria.
Right. I mean,
yes.
We've had several forest guards across states,
yes.
state level. We've
yes.
seen that happen in Enugu, we've seen that happen in other states. I'm just imagining what it would look like. We hope for the best, as a matter of fact. But we've seen a gale of defections from different other parties into the APC, and many persons think that the movement of people into the APC is not necessarily that the APC is doing well, because the indices are there. You cannot say security has been better already under this administration. You can't say food has been cheap under this administration. You can't say that transportation, the living standard has been a little bit deliberate and also moderate for a common man who earns 70,000 naira as minimum wage. You can't really say that. I mean, we are humans and we live in Nigeria, so you can't say that. We're predicating your conversation based on what is to come, and that is what Buhari did. Buhari did the same thing. Starting from 2015 up until 2023, he kept promising and promising and promising and promising until he left. And now we're still promising. Now, when would Nigerians have a breathing space to at least gain and feed off from this government that is peopled by the APC in the last 10 years? After all, you guys provided an alternative in 2015, which was accepted. And then you wonder why, every year on, you still have Nigerians suffering from the inadequacies of government. It is so bad. And I just feel that 2 years down the line, when Tinubu took over in 2023, a bag of rice was not 90,000 naira.
Yes. But what was the bag of rice then? It rose to what then?
In 2023.
In 2023 December, it rose to 90,000.
Yes.
But now, how much is the bag of rice?
Bag of rice is still around 70 and 100,000.
60,000, 55.
Well, it depends on where you buy it. And so there's still chaos, but not for somebody who is earning 70,000 as minimum wage. So where do we go from here, really? I mean, when you have a government, you are supposed to be looking at a situation where things get better by the day. You see it happen by the day, but it's not happening.
Well. The issue is that I understand very clearly that Nigerians will always complain, even when it is obvious to them that things are getting better.
Are things really getting better?
The same thing is applicable to every other country of the world. Even in Americans, some pessimists are complaining in America, where Trump is doing all his best and changing the system there and righting the wrongs. Some Americans and oppositions are still complaining in America, so it is not an exception in Nigeria. The same thing is applicable to Britain and France and every other democratic country of the world. The opposition must continue to complain. The other day, some country was protesting against the tax increase. That's normal. But what I'm saying is that this administration has continued to make progress in the lane of economic recovery. I talked about insecurity now, and I talked about forest guard.
Yeah, they were talking about the defection.
I'm coming. One of the major causes of food price increase was insecurity that drove people out of their farms. Borno State has the capacity of feeding the whole Nigeria. Their land mass, Borno and Niger State, has the capacity of feeding Nigeria. That is with food supply. But they cannot go to farm. You see what the ISWAP and Boko Haram, what they are doing recently, even capturing some soldiers, and taking them away, and we have not known what has become of those captive soldiers. They are coming on defection. Nigerian politicians don't have guts.
Just 1 minute. You have just 1 minute to wrap up.
The Nigerian politicians don't have guts. They move around. It started by PDP. When PDP won elections, Obasanjo, in order to withhold Jose Okan, brought Vincent Obulawo, who was his opposition in APP, and made him a national secretary to fight. And the people began to jump from here to there. It's not about in Enugu State, for instance. Labour Party won 16 members of the state assembly seats out of 24. They have two-thirds majority. But still, they abandoned the majority and they defected to PDP. So today, people are defecting from APC to PDP. You don't blame them. From Labour to PDP. Only that nobody has ever defected to Labour Party. But defection has been ongoing. It doesn't mean that is the pattern of Nigeria. People are defecting from APC in Anambra State to APGA. People are defecting from APC in Abia State to Labour Party. So this defection, level of defection, is the selfish end of politicians, not rather on the performance of government of APC or not. But let us take it the way we see it, that Nigeria is on the lane of progress.
All right. I mean, no better person than to explain this further are the Nigerian people who would speak directly to what exactly they think about this current administration. We're going to go on the streets all across this weekend, to speak to the people on the street directly, to hear practically from them what they feel about this current administration. I want to say a very big thank you to the opinion leader and an analyst, Chief Ebubeagu Felix. Thank you so much for your time on the analysis of the mid-term performance of governors and, of course, the president. We're back shortly after this break. Signature TV, news in your pocket.